Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Brachos Daf Yud Aleph. We're at the Mishnah on Yud Amud Beis. Beis Shammai Omrim. Says the Mishnah, Beis Shammai Omrim ba'erev. During the recital of the evening Krishma, Kol Adam, every man should yata yita v'yikra. He should lie down while he recites the Krishma. Uba boker, and in the morning during Krishma Shal Shacharis, Yamoid, he should stand up. Why is that? Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Uveshachvacha ubekumecha, when you lie down and when you stand up. So according to Beis Shammai, the term Uveshachvacha, when you lie down, ubekumecha, and when you stand up, is referring to the position that one must assume during Kriyas Shema. Ubeis Hillel Oimrim, no. The term Uveshachvacha ubekumecha is simply referring to the time, the zman of Kriyas Shema. Uveshachvacha is referring to the time when people are going to sleep, are lying down. Ubekumecha is referring to the point in time when people are getting up. Continues the Mishnah, Ubeis Hillel Oimrim kol adam kairei kedarkoi. Everyone could read Krishma in any manner which they prefer. They could sit, they could stand, they could lie, they could be walking. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Uvelechta chavaderech, when you go on your way, this implies that you can read it in any manner, in any position that you prefer. Imkain, if that's the case, that lying and standing is not required, Imkain, if so, lama nemar ubeshachvacha ukemecha. Why then does the Torah stipulate when you lie down and when you wake up, when you get up? The answer is, it's referring to the zman, to the time. B'shah shebnei adam shoichvim. Kriya Shema Shel Arvis is recited at the point in time when people are generally going to sleep. Uveshah shebnei adam oimdim. This is referring to the Kriya Shema Shel Shacharis, when people are getting up, but certainly you may recite Kriya Shema in any manner which you see fit. Continues the Mishnah, Omer of Tarfon, Anya yisi bo baderech. I was traveling on the road, v'itesi, and I lay down, likrois kedvi Beis Shammai. I followed the opinion of Beis Shammai, and when it came time to recite Kriya Shema Shel Arvis, I lay down. V'sikanti ba'atzmi mipnei alistim. I put myself in danger on account of the bandits who could have attacked me when I was just lying down there unaware of them. Omer lois, the Chacham responded to him, Kedaya yisalocha ba'atzmcha. It would be fit that you would be liable for incurring harm. Sha'avarta al divrei Beis Hillel, since you transgressed the words of Beis Hillel, you specifically lay down in order to fulfill the shita, the opinion of Beis Shammai, which we do not follow. Continues the Gemara. B'ishloima Beis Hillel. It all works out according to Beis Hillel, that we find in the Mishnah that they explain, they elucidate their position, the reason for their shita, that one may read Krishma in any manner which he sees fit from the pasuk Uvelechta chavaderech. You should go on your way when you go on your way, which implies any position, any manner which he sees fit, and as well they respond to the source of Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai quotes a pasuk Uveshachvacha ukemecha, which implies literally when you lie down, when you wake up, when you get up, and Beis Hillel respond by saying no, it's referring to the time. So it all works out according to Beis Hillel. Bishlam Beis Hillel kameh farshi tamayu. They explain the reasons for their opinion. The time of the Beis Shammai, and as well they respond to the proof of Beis Shammai and they refute it. Ella, however, Beis Shammai, my time of Amrik Beis Hillel. Why do Beis Shammai not agree with the opinion of Beis Hillel? Since the pasuk clearly states Uvelechta chavaderech, when you go on your way, which implies that one may reach Krishma when he's walking. So why do Beis Shammai not agree with the shita, with the opinion of Beis Hillel? Amri lach Beis Shammai. Beis Shammai explained as follows: the pasuk cannot be referring to the pasuk of V'shachvacha ukemecha, cannot be referring to the time, strictly explaining to us, describing to us the time of the chiv, of the obligation. It must be specifically speaking about the position, the bodily position, which one must assume while he's reciting Krishma. Why is that so? Imkain, if the pasuk V'shachvacha ukemecha is simply referring to the time, as Beis Hillel are proposing, name akra, the pasuk should simply state ba'boker or be'erev. You must read Krishma in the morning and at night. Mai b'shachvacha ukemecha. Why does the Torah describe it as when you lie down and when you get up? And evidently the Torah is teaching us b'shas shchiva mamash. You must read Krishma at the time of lying down, but literally, actually, when you are in a position of lying down. Uveshas kima mamash. The pasuk that says uvekumecha is referring to not only the time when one gets up, but actually when he's in the position of a kumecha, when he's standing erect. Continues the Gemara. If so, we have a proof, we have a source for the shita of Beis Shammai from the wording b'shach b'chov kumecha. But what remains to be understood is, what does Beis Shammai do with the pasuk uvelechta chavaderech that Beis Hillel had learned from there, that one may read Krishma in any manner which he sees fit? Says the Gemara, Beis Shammai will use those words to teach us another lesson. Beis Shammai, how uvelechta chavaderech mayavadlu? What do they do with the pasuk uvelechta chavaderech? Says the Gemara, ahumi boile. That pasuk is required to teach us the following halacha. It is teaching us that one who is isek b'mitzvah, who is involved in performing a mitzvah, he is patur, he is exempt from doing any other mitzvah, including Kriyas Shema. And that is inferred from the words of Velechtacha Vaderech. Continues the Brisa. Look at the Sanya as we have learned in the Brisa. B'shivtecha b'veisecha, when you will sit in your home. Prat lo'isek b'mitzvah. This is coming to exclude one who is involved in a mitzvah. He is exempt from reciting Krishma. We will soon explain how do we see it in the words of B'shivtecha b'veisecha. Continues the Brisa. Uvelechtacha Vaderech. The pasuk continues, "B'shivtecha b'veisecha uvelechtacha vaderech." From the second part of the pasuk, we learn prat. It's coming to exempt, to exclude a chassan who has recently married and he has not yet been boil. He's not yet consummated his marriage in a physical manner, and in this case, he is still preoccupied with the bia, with the upcoming mitzvah, and therefore he is exempt from reciting Krishma. So continues the Gemara, "Mikan amru." From this pasuk, we have derived Hakoines es apsula pater, one who marries a psula virgin is pater from Kriyashma, since he is preoccupied with the bia of the psula, which is more involving and needs more expertise than one of a previously married woman. So one who marries a psula is pater on account of his being isek b'mitzvah. Ve'esalmana chai, but one who marries a widow is indeed still required to recite Krishma. Continues the Gemara. Fine, we have a brisa which teaches us the concept of one who is isek b'mitzvah, patur min mitzvah, and this is derived from the words b'shivtecha b'veisecha, when you'll sit in your home, uvelechtacha vaderech, when you'll go on your way. But we still haven't figured out where in those words do we see this halacha. My mashma, where do we infer from those words the concept of ha'isek b'mitzvah, patur min mitzvah? Continues the Gemara, Amar papa ki derech. The pasuk says uvelechtacha vaderech, when you go on your way. A derech, a way, is referring to Ma'derech Rishus, is referring to an activity which is not an obligation, which is not a mitzvah, and therefore Afkal Rishus, we infer from there that one is only obligated to recite Krishma when he is involved in a Rishus, in an elective activity, not something which is obligatory, and otherwise, if he is involved in a mitzvah, he is pater. Continues the Gemara, how do you see from Baderech that it's a Davar Rishus, that it's a non-mitzvah activity? Mila Yaskina, perhaps the derech could be referring to the Ka'asal Dvar mitzvah. He's on his way to do a mitzvah. So we see from the pasuk, even when one is traveling to perform a mitzvah, even though he's isek b'mitzvah, he is still chayv b'mitzvah. He's still obligated to recite Krishma. So how do you know the concept of isek b'mitzvah pater min mitzvah? Continues the Gemara. Mila Yaskina, are we not speaking about the Ka'asal Dvar mitzvah even if he's traveling to do a mitzvah? Even so, the Torah tells you, Amar Achmana Likri, he must read Krishma. So the Gemara seems to have trouble with the Yalfusa, with the Limud, with the inference of this pasuk. Im Kain, if so, if the pasuk is speaking about a Dvar mitzvah, Lichtei v'Rachmana b'sheves u'beleches. The pasuk says b'shivtecha, and you're sitting, u'belechecha, and you're traveling, you're going. Why doesn't the Torah say b'sheves when you sit, b'leches when you go? Why does the pasuk add the cha, which implies it's your private concern, it's your personal activity, you're going to do business, you're going to be involved in a non-mitzvah? My b'shivtecha u'belechecha, that implies that we're speaking about a personal affair, b'sheves didach, u'beleches didach. You're involved in your own personal activity, and only then, who the mechayves, are you obligated to recite Krishma. Ha the mitzvah patiris, but one who is involved in a mitzvah, since he is involved, he's isaac a mitzvah, he's exempt from doing any other mitzvah. He's meant to be totally, completely immersed in the task at hand, and does not have the ability to distract his attention and to do any other mitzvahs at that point in time. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, that one who's involved in a mitzvah, and not only actually involved, physically involved in a ma'aseh, an act of doing a mitzvah, but also somebody who is awaiting an upcoming fulfillment of an obligation of a mitzvah, like a chassan, who's not actually at the present moment in time doing a mitzvah. He's simply awaiting the future fulfillment of a mitzvah. And as Rashi explains, that's why we need both pesukim. B'shivtecha teaches you when you're sitting in your home, when you're actively involved in your own personal activities, then you are obligated to do a mitzvah. But if not, if you're involved in a ma'isa mitzvah, then you are osek mitzvah and patur mitzvah. The second half, uvelech teaches you that not only when one is physically actively involved in doing a ma'asa mitzvah and a mitzvah activity, but even if someone who is awaiting, anticipating the fulfillment of a mitzvah like a chassan, which is a low level of involvement, even he is exempt, even he is considered to be an oisek b'mitzvah. So that's what we learn from the two psukim. B'shivtecha is an active involvement of a mitzvah. Uvelechtecha, even if he's anticipating a mitzvah. Says the Gemara, if so, ihachi, if you're exempting even one who's merely anticipating an upcoming event, an upcoming mitzvah, so why do you stipulate that a chassan, who is pater, is merely, strictly speaking, about one who is marrying a psula, virgin? Ihachi, afilu kines es almana nami, one who married a widow, he's also awaiting the upcoming mitzvah, the consummation of his marriage, the be'ilah shel mitzvah, he too should be pater. Says the Gemara, there's a big difference. High Tarid, the chassan who married a psula virgin is entirely preoccupied. He must concentrate, he must really pay attention to the upcoming mitzvah, and therefore his mental state doesn't allow him to fully concentrate on Krishma, and he is pater. High, but one who marries a widow, like Tarid, since she's not a virgin, she's not a psula, it's not so involving, and doesn't require that much expertise, and therefore he is not so preoccupied, and he is chayav to recite Krishma. Continues the Gemara, the next step. If you've established that the reason behind the exemption of a chassan is because of his preoccupation, if so, afilu tavas finasa b'yam nami, if somebody had a misfortune and his ship sank in the ocean, and he is mali tzar, he's full of pain and is preoccupied by his misfortune. If preoccupation is a reason for exemption, in this case as well, it should exempt him from the obligation of reciting Krishma. If you'll propose that really indeed is so, that one who is full of pain and preoccupied with a misfortune, he is indeed pater from a mitzvah, if so, why did Rav Abba Razav teach us in the name of Rav, that an avel and mourner, even though he's fully occupied with mourning, he's full of tsar and pain, still he is obligated, he has a chiyuv to do all the mitzvahs in the Torah except for one, chutz min tefillin, except for wearing tefillin, and that is for a side reason. Shara nemar pe'er, the term pe'er, glory, is associated with tefillin, and an avel, a mourner, since he is not in a state of happiness, he is consumed with his tsar. As Rashi says, he is mizgoyle ba'afar, it's as though he is on the upper, down on the earth, he is consumed with depression, sadness, and therefore it's not appropriate for him to wear tefillin, which is associated with pe'er, with beauty and glory. There's another Rashi elsewhere which explains that if an avel would don tefillin, which is considered to be pe'er and glory, it would seem like he's ignoring and he's doing away with the mourning, which is his obligation. So in any case, he is chayiv, and avel is chayiv, despite his state of agony and tsar, he is obligated to perform all the mitzvahs in the Torah except for tefillin, shenemar pe'ercha chavashalecha, because the term pe'er is associated with tefillin. So why is he chayiv b'chol mitzvahs? If preoccupation with something else, preoccupation with a mitzvah, is considered to be a reason for exemption, as we see by a chassan, so why not by an avel? Continues the Gemara, there's a big difference. A chassan is preoccupied with the upcoming mitzvah. It is a mitzvah for him to concentrate, to pay attention, and not to divert his attention from the mitzvah, from the upcoming mitzvah. He needs to ensure that he will do it properly, that he has the proper expertise. However, by an avel, true, human nature requires, or just ends up being that as a result of the tsar, as a result of the death of his relative, he will be in a state of mourning and tsar. But not necessarily is the mourning itself considered to be a mitzvah. As Rashi explains, the display of avelus, of refraining from washing, wearing shoes, etc., that is an expression of a display of honor, of kavod towards the mace. However, the tsar, the pain that the avel is experiencing, as natural as it is it doesn't constitute a mitzvah. He's not required to be b'tzar. If he really wants, he can divert his attention from the tsar and focus on the mitzvah. Therefore, it is no reason to pater him, to absolve him from doing mitzvahs. Answers the Gemara, Hasam by a Chasam Torah tirda the mitzvah, he's preoccupied with the upcoming mitzvah. Hacha by an Aval, however, by a mourner, Torah tirda the Rishus, the preoccupation is an elective matter, it's not a mitzvah, and therefore does not absolve him from doing another mitzvah. Continues the Gemara, and the girsa of the Marsha is that according to Beis Hillel, uvelech exempt a person from the chiyuv, from the obligation to recite Krishma when he's involved in a mitzvah. And the word baderech teaches you that one may recite Krishma in any manner which he sees fit, sitting, standing, walking, etc. Continues the Gemara, if so, what does Beis Shammai do with the word baderech? Baderech is coming to include even if one is sent to perform a mitzvah, he's on the road, he's not actually performing the mitzvah at present. Since he is on the way to do a mitzvah, he is considered to be Eisv mitzvah and Pater min mitzvah. Says Beis Hillel, true, Baderech is required to teach us that halacha, that even a shluach mitzvah is Pater min mitzvah, but nevertheless, we can still infer from there, my halacha, that Baderech implies that one may recite Krishma in any manner which he sees fit. Why is that? Says Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel Amri Memela Shmamina. We learn Memela, we learn on its own. Jafilu Baderech Nami Kari, that since the pasuk tells you Baderech, that Baderech is coming to exclude a shliach mitzvah, one who was sent to do a mitzvah, we infer from there that if he is on the road for any other reason, for a non-mitzvah, then he must recite Krishma. And how, in what manner does he recite Krishma? Baderech, in any way, in any position that he sees fit, whether sitting, standing, or even walking. So in conclusion, we have a machlekes, Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel. What is the position that a person needs to be in order to recite Krishma? We have a pasuk, B'shivtecha b'veisecha uvelechtecha v'aderech uveshach b'cha u'kamecha. Let's start from the bottom. Uveshach b'cha u'kamecha, according to Beis Hillel, that teaches us the time of reading Krishma. B'shach b'cha, when people are going to sleep, u'kamecha, when people are arising. But it is not referring to the actual position which one has to be in when he recites Krishma. According to Beis Hillel, according to Beis Shammai, not only does it teach us the timing, but it actually teaches us the position that one has to find himself when he recites Krishma. Uveshach b'cha is teaching you when you lie down, you need to be in a lying position. Uv'kamecha, you need to be in a standing position. Back to the beginning of the pasuk, B'shivtecha b'veisecha uvelechtecha v'aderech. So from the words B'shivtecha, you're sitting, from the word uvelechtecha, from your going, we imply from there that only if he's involved in a non-mitzvah activity, but if he's involved in a mitzvah, he is pater min mitzvah, and he's exempt from the obligation of Krishma. From the word baderech, we learn two things. According to Beis Shammai, we learn even if one is baderech, on the way he was sent to do a mitzvah, he's a shliach mitzvah. That is also considered to be oisek b'mitzvah, he's involved in doing a mitzvah, and he's pater from reading Krishma. According to Beis Hillel, true, we learn that from there, but we learn as well, baderech teaches you that even in any manner, any position where a person may find himself, he may read Krishma in that position. Continues the Gemara, Tana Rabbanan. Beis Hillel oimrim, oimden v'koirin, a person may stand up and read Krishma, yoishvin v'koirin, he may sit down, omaten v'koirin, he may lie down, hoichom baderech v'koirin, he can be walking on the way, oisin b'mlachtam v'koirin, he is involved in some sort of activity, and he may read Krishma in that manner. Rashi explains, based on the Gemara later on, this is referring to the rest of Krishma, but not the first parsha, which requires exceptional concentration. Says the Gemara story. Maisa Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Lezer Azariah. There was a story of these two Tanoim. Shoyim Subin b'makom echad. They were reclining in one place. V'haya Rishmal Muta. Rishmal was lying. Rabbi Lezer and Azariah Zokuf. Rishmal was laying down. Rabbi Lezer Azariah was erect. Now, Kima Shegia Zman Krishma. Once the Zman of Krishma arrived, Hitter Rabbi Lezer lie down. V'zokav Rabbi Shmuel, and Shmuel straightened himself out, because he was going in accordance, he was following the shita of Beis Hillel, that one must lay down at the time of Krishma Shel Arvis. So Rabbi Lezer ben Azariah was following the shita of Beis Shammai. Came nighttime, came time for Krishma Shel Arvis, so he lay down. Rabbi Shmuel was following the Shita of Beis Hillel, that one must not lie down, and therefore he actually straightened himself out. I don't understand. Yishmael, my brother. What you're doing can be compared to the following mashal. Mashal le'echad is compared to a mashal, to an analogy that they tell a person. They compliment him on his full-grown beard. So the fellow, instead of accepting the compliment good-naturedly, he says, Amar lehem, he responds, Hey, keneged amashchisim, let it go to the ones who destroy, let it be cut off by a scissor or a razor. He rejects the compliment. Same thing here said Rabbi Shmuel to Rabbi Lezer and Azariah. I don't understand. Afkach, ata, kol zman shani zokav atamuta. As long as I was erect, you were laying down. Achshav kshani etesi, when I lie down to sort of imply a compliment to your, I complimented your position, I wanted to emulate you, and came time to recite Krishma Shel Arvis, I lay down. Now, ata zakafta, you don't accept my compliment, and you straighten yourself up. How does that make sense? I'm complimenting your position, the fact that you're following the Shita of Beis Shammai, you're lying down during Krishma Shel Arvis, I emulate you, and then you go ahead and turn around and straighten yourself out. Amar Loi, so Rabbi Lezer and Azariah responded, Ani Yosisi Kidvei Beis Hillel. I was doing in accordance to the Shittas of Beis Hillel, which don't require one to be laying during the Krishma Shel Arvis. However, you're following the Shita of Beis Shammai, and therefore I wanted to show that your position is wrong. One need not lie down during Krishma Shel Arvis. Not only that, in other words, why couldn't I just stay lying down and recite Krishma? We know that Beis Hillel agree that in theory, if one finds himself to be laying down, he may recite Krishma Shel Arvis. So why did I specifically need to straighten myself out? There was a reason for it, not to mislead the public. Shamayira Talmidim, lest the students take notice, and they will see me remain laying down, and they will infer from there v'ikvu halacha l'deiros, they will establish the halacha for generations to come in accordance to Beis Shammai. Therefore, I refrained from doing so, and I took care and caution. I straightened myself out, lest there be room for error. In fact, the Gemara asked the Gemara, why did I need another reason? First reason was sufficient. I followed Beis Hillel. Says the Gemara, V'chi tema, Beis Hillel nami isluhu matin. Why did he need to straighten himself out? Beis Hillel himself agreed that theoretically one could stay laying down. Hanamili, that's only the mata v'asam yikara. If one finds himself to be laying down, he may continue in that position and remain laying down while he recites Krishma. But in this case, given that hashta havisokov, you, Rabbi Shmuel, you were erect. V'hashta mutan, then you went ahead and you lay down. Amri, those who are seeing or watching us, observing us, will say, Shma'ana, why did he have to change positions? It must be Beis Shammai Svirlu. They hold like Beis Shammai that one is required, obligated to lay down, and therefore Shamayira Talmidim V'ikbal Chalderes. These students will infer from there that the halacha follows Beis Shammai, and they will establish the halacha of Beis Shammai for future generations. Therefore, to refute that, to undo that mistake, I went ahead and I straightened myself out to sort of protest what you were doing, and to make a statement that the halacha follows according to Beis Hillel, that one is not required to lie down, and therefore I straighten myself out. Continues the Gemara, Tani Rabbi Cheskel. Asa k'div Beis Shammai asa. If one followed the Shita of Beis Shammai, lay down at night and straighten himself out in the morning, asa, he fulfilled his obligation. K'div Beis Hillel, if one follows the Shita of Beis Hillel and is not makpid, is not particular in his bodily position, also that too is fine. Any way you follow, any manner which you recite Krishma, you fulfill the obligation. Rav Yosef Amar, no. Also, one who follows in accordance to Beis Shammai, he has not fulfilled his obligation, and the Chachamim invalidated the recital of Krishma. He must recite it again. Where do we find such a concept that the Rabbanon invalidated something that somebody did when he did not do it in the preferred manner? Now, just let's stop for a second. What would be the basis, what would be the rationale for invalidating one's recital of Krishma just because he recited Krishma in laying down like Beis Shammai? Well, when we know that even according to Beis Hillel, one may do so, even though one is not required to do so, but if one is laying down, he's yet to fulfill his obligation. So why were the Chachamim so stringent and invalidated? The Rishonim explain The reason for this is that one shouldn't erroneously conclude that one is really required to do so, and if one is perhaps in a position when he's unable to lie down like Beis Shammai, he will neglect the recital of Krishma altogether. Therefore, in order to prevent such a situation, the Chachamim explicitly said they forbade somebody from following Shitas Beis Shammai, but rather a person must not be particular about his position and read it and recite Krishma in any manner which he finds himself. Continues the Gemara again. Where do we find such an example where the Chachamim invalidated a fulfillment of a mitzvah on account of a decree, the Snan, as we learned in the Mishnah? His head and most of his body was inside the sukkah. He chose to put his table right inside the house, outside the sukkah. Does he fulfill his mitzvah in that manner, since his head and most of his guf is in the sukkah? Beis Shammai invalidates. They say it's possible, since we are concerned that perhaps he will lean over towards his table and he will find himself out of the sukkah during his mealtime. Beis Hillel says it's fine. He fulfills his obligation of mitzvah sukkah even in this manner. Amar Lam Beis Hillel Beis Shammai. We'll prove our shita with a story. Maaseh sheholchu ziknei Beis Shammai v'ziknei Beis Hillel. The elders of Beis Shammai Beis Hillel came levaker Rabbi Yochanan Necharonis. They came to visit him. Matzu, they found him. They discovered him sitting in this manner. Shaya roishev ruba v'sukkah. His body and his head and most of his body was in the sukkah. However, his table was in the house. And did not make any comment. Apparently, they approved of this mode of behavior. Amar lahem, Beis Shammai responded, no, that wasn't the story. Mishamrai, how can you bring a proof from there? In fact, they did comment to him. They did tell him, if this is the manner which you've conducted yourself, you've never fulfilled the mitzvah of sukkah, since the Chacham decreed that one who conducts himself in this manner, they negated the fulfillment. It is as though he has never fulfilled the mitzvah of sukkah. So you see from here this concept that Chachamim invalidated a mitzvah. Similarly, in our Gemara, when one is particular about his position, comes nighttime and he finds himself in a sitting position, he goes ahead and he's makbid, he's particular, and he goes and he lies down to fulfill Beis Shammai Shita, he has not fulfilled the mitzvah. Chachamim invalidated his recital of Krishma. Continues the Gemara. Rab Nachman Yitzchak Amar, also could be Beis Shammai, if one follows in accordance to Beis Shammai, chayav misa. Well, this is very stringent. He is liable to death. It's not as we see in our Mishnah. Amar Rabbi Tarfon, I was going on the road, and I lay down like the Shita of Beis Shammai. Listen, I put myself in danger on account of the bandits who may attack me. What did they respond to him? It was fit for you to incur the danger. Since I transgressed the words of Beis Hillel, we see from here that not following Shitas Beis Hillel, in fact, carries it a liability of a punishment of death. So, in conclusion, we have a machlekes, Beis Shammai Beis Hillel. According to Beis Shammai, one must be particular about his position. During Krishma Shel Arvis, he must lie down. During Krishma Shel Shacharis, he must stand up. According to Beis Hillel, any person could recite Krishma in any manner which he sees fit. There's a machlekes in the Gemara whether one who is particular about the Shitas Beis Shammai, has he fulfilled his mitzvah? According to Rabbi Cheskel, yes, he has fulfilled his mitzvah. According to Rabbi Yosef, loy asav loy klum, the Chacham invalidated the mitzvah. In fact, the Gemara concludes he is even liable to death. And just one comment, the Gemara did differentiate between one who finds himself in a position of he's already laying down. In that case, even according to Beis Hillel, he may continue in that position and read Krishma. The restriction is only, the decree is only in a case where he finds himself in an erect position and he specifically goes ahead and lies down in order to fulfill Beis Shammai. That is something that the Chachamim ruled against. Continues the Gemara, this is regarding the Brachos that we recite prior and post Krishna Shel Shacharis. So in Krishna Shel Shacharis, there are three brachas. Two prior, which is Yitzur Oyer Bari Choshech. The second bracha is Avasoil Mohavarabba, like we see in the Gemara. And there's one bracha following Krishma, which is Emes V'Yatzif. Ube'erev, regarding Krishma Shel Arvis, Mevorach Shtayim Elfanea, Ushtayim Lachareah. Two brachas precede and two brachas follow. Rashi brings down that the Yerushalmi quotes a pasuk, Sheva B'Yayim Hilaltich, I praise you, with 7 different aspects, 7 different elements. And this is a remez, a hint to the 7 brachas which are associated with Krishma. 3 in the morning and 4 at night, for a total of 7. Continues the Gemara, Achas Aruka V'Achasora. This is referring to the two brachos which follow Krishma Shel Arvis. One is a lengthy bracha, and one is a brief bracha. Rashi explains, Emes Vamuna is lengthy, Hashkevenu is brief. Continues the Mishnah, Makam She'amr Laharach and Irash Lakatzer, where the Chacham said that one should recite a lengthy bracha, one may not shorten it and recite merely a brief bracha. The same thing in the reverse, Lakatzer, and the Chacham said that one should recite a brief bracha, and Irash Laharach, he may not make it lengthy. Lachtaim, when the Chacham said that one should conclude the bracha with the words Baruch Ata Hashem, in Rashi Shaloi Lachtaim, he may not omit the Chasima, the conclusion. Similarly, Shaloi Lachtaim, when the Chacham said that one should not conclude with Baruch Ata Hashem, in the Rashi Lachtaim, he may not add this conclusion. Continues the Gemara. My Mevarach, what are the brachas that one recites surrounding Krishma Shel Shachris? Omar V'Yakim Rabbi Ishya, the first bracha is Yoitzer Oyer, one who forms light, over Choshech, and creates darkness. Continues the Gemara. Why do we choose the Lashon, the term Choshech, which is something unpleasant, something frightening, and why is this fitting to be used in a bracha which is coming to praise Hashem? Lema Yoitzer Oyer Uber Noiga. We should say instead, Hashem who forms light and creates Noiga, which is a light emanating through the darkness, which also implies darkness, but it is a different term which is more preferable than just plain darkness. Says the Gemara, we're simply quoting a pasuk. The pasuk that says, Yoitzer Oyer Uber Choshech, Oiseh Shalom, Hashem who makes peace, Uber Ra, and creates evil. If that's the case, that you're simply following the words of the pasuk, if so, what about the ending of the pasuk? The bracha says Yoitzer Oyer Uber Choshech, and the conclusion is Oiseh Shalom Uber Hakoil. Hashem created everything. It's a euphemism for evil, but not explicitly stating the word Ra. But if you're following the literal words of the pasuk, why don't you follow the actual words, which is Oiseh Shalom Uber Ra? Says the Gemara, do we then follow the actual wording, the exact wording of the pasuk regarding the ending of this bracha? Regarding the latter part, says the Gemara, despite the fact that the pasuk uses the word evil, we don't say evil, and we say hakoil, lishnamali, which is the preferred mode of speech. Hachanami. If so, in the beginning, in the opening words of the pasuk, leiva noiga, lishnamalia, we should prefer using the word noiga rather than the word choshech. Answers the Gemara, Ella, the reason is, Amarava Kedela Haskir Midas Yoim Balayla, in order to mention the characteristic of day, even when it's night, meaning that during the Tefillah Shel Arvis, we want to mention not only darkness, not only evening, we also want to include the midah, the characteristic of Yom. We want to mention, we want to make a reference to Yom as well, and similarly, in the morning, we want to mention both aspects. Midas Laila B'Yom, we want to mention the characteristic of his night, even when it's morning. Now, why is that? The Mefarshim explain, the heretics claim that there are two forces in the world. As the pasuk says, Yoitzer Oyer, one who formed light, Uber Choshech, he created darkness. This implies perhaps that there are two separate forces in the world. One is creating light, one is creating darkness. We're coming to refute this opinion by making mention of night even during the day, and mentioning day even during the night, which implies that one creator exists who created all things and controls all aspects of the Bria, of the creation. Yom and Laila as well. There are no two separate forces in the world. It says the Gemara, Bishloima, we understand Midas Laila b'Yom Kedam Rinan. The reason why we say Yoitzer Oyer Choshech is in order to make mention of Choshech, to mention the aspect of Laila, of night, during the Tefillah of Shel Shachris. That's why we chose Choshech over Noiga, in order to make a direct reference to Choshech and to include it with Yom during the Tefillah Shel Shachris. Ella, where do we find the other aspect? Midas Yom B'Laila, Heichem Eshkachas. Where do we find mention of Yom during the Tefillah of Arvis? Says the Gemara, Abaye, Goy L'Or B'nei Choshech, V'Choshech B'nei Or. During the Brachos Ma'ariv Aravim, the bracha preceding Krishma Shel Arvis, we use the term Goy L'Or B'nei Choshech. Hashem removes light in order to bring darkness, removes darkness in the morning in order to bring light, so we make a direct reference to light, which denotes day, even during the Tefillah Shel Arvis. Continues the Gemara. V'idach mai. Fine, so we know the first bracha, first blessing before Krishna Shel Shachris is Yoitzer Oyer Choshech, as we explained. What about the second bracha? How does it begin? What is it called? Amar V'yida Amar Shmuel Ava Rava. Hashem has an abundance of love towards us. V'chein Oyer Li Rabbi Lezer Abadas Brei. Rabbi Lezer Abadas taught his son. Rabbi Lezer taught his son Rav Das, Ava Rabba, an abundance of love. Tanya Meochi, we learned in the Brisa, Ein Oimrim Avas Olam. We do not say eternal love, Avas Olam, but rather Ava Rabba, an abundance of love. Rabbanan Amri, the Rabbanan's opinion, however, is Avas Olam, that the right term is to say Avas Olam, eternal love. V'cheinu Omer, as it says in the pasuk, V'avas Olam Ahavtich, I've loved you in eternal love. Al Kei Meshachtiv Chesed, therefore I've drawn kindness upon you. So in conclusion, we have two brachos preceding Krishna Shal Shacharis. One is Yitzir Or V'Choshech. The reason why we mention light and darkness in order to combine both aspects of day and night, in order to show and to underline the fact that everything emanates from one power, from Hashem, who controls all aspects of the world. The second bracha is Avas Olam, as the Chachamim conclude here. And Tosfos mentioned that, being that there are different shitas, different opinions, whether it's Ava Rabba or Avas Olam, therefore we do both, and by day we say Ava Rabba, this is Nusach Ashkenaz, and at night by Ma'ariv we say Avas Olam. Continues the Gemara, Omar Bida Mashmol, Hishkim Lishnais, if one gets up to learn Torah, Achalei Kara Krishma, prior to reciting Krishma and the brachas that precede Krishma, Tzarech Levarach, so he must recite bracha, Birchas HaTorah prior to learning. However, if it is already past his recital of Krishma, Mishikara Krishma, Ein Tzarech Levarach, there's no need to say Birchas HaTorah. Why? Shekvar Niftar B'Hava Rabbah, he is already exempt on account of reciting the bracha of Hava Rabbah, which includes a prayer to Hashem to help us be Zoicha, to merit learning Torah, teaching Torah, and all the Lashonos that we find, all the terms find in Hava Rabbah, V'sein B'libeinu Lilmoid, L'lamoid, Lishmar, V'lasois, Eskoldiver Talmud Torah Secha. So this is like a Birchas HaTorah, and therefore once you have already recited the bracha of Hava Rabbah prior to Krishma, you're exempt from Birchas HaTorah. Amar Rav Huna, regarding Birchas HaTorah, it is limited. There is only a chiyuv of Birchas HaTorah when one actually learns scripture, Mikra, Torah. L'mikra tzarech lefarish. That is the oral law, that is the main Torah, and therefore that requires Birchas HaTorah. However, Midrash, regarding the Brisa, Safra, Safri, which expound on the Psukim, Ein tzarech levarach, there's no obligation of Birchas HaTorah. Rav Lezer Amar, no, L'mikra u'lemidrash tzarech levarach. Since Midrash is directly connected to the Psukim and the Torah, that the Drush is associated with Torah Shebechsav, they too require a Birchas HaTorah. However, the Mishnayos, which is oral Torah, Ein tzarech levarach, they do not obligate one to recite Birchas HaTorah. For Rabbi Yochanan, no, after Mishnah Namri tzarech levarach, even when one learns Mishnayos, he is required to say Birchas HaTorah. Since it is the body of the oral law, it has the all the halachas of the Torah concisely and clearly delineated in all the Mishnayos and are the basis of our Torah Sheba'al Peh. Aval Talmud, but however, Gemara, which is explaining the rationale, the reasons behind the Mishnah, that is secondary of Ein tzarech levarach. They do not require Birchas HaTorah to learn Talmud. V'rava ma'afla Talmud tzarech levarach. Even when one learns Gemara, he is required to say Birchas HaTorah. And as Rashi explains, Gemara is essential to Torah Sheba'al Peh, since without Gemara we can't apply the halachas that are contained in the body of law in the Mishnah, and the Gemara expounds and elucidates, explains to us everything that is included in the Mishnayos, and therefore it is truly essential and is a core of Torah and requires Birchas HaTorah. And of course in halacha, that's the way we follow, that for any aspect of Torah we are required to say Birchas HaTorah. How do we prove that even Talmud requires Birchas HaTorah? Many times I was standing in front of Rav. He came to teach us. I came to listen to his teaching in the Safra B'dei Rav, which was Gemara, and have a makdim kamashi yadi. He would arise, wash his hands, ubarach, and say Birchas HaTorah, maslam pirkin, and teach us the Gemara. Evidently, even the Gemara requires Birchas HaTorah. Continues the Gemara, my mevarach. What exactly is Birchas HaTorah? Hashem sanctified us and commanded us to involve ourselves in the involvement of Torah. Rabbi Yochanan says there was a conclusion of a bracha of Baruch Atah Hashem Echasima, which goes as follows: Harevna Hashem Aleikeinu, Hashem sweeten as divrei Sherescha Befino, the words of your Torah in our mouths, with Vivias Amcha Beis Yisrael, in the mouths of Klal Yisrael. V'nia Nachum v'Tzetzeinu, us and our grandchildren, descendants should be. V'Tzetzei Amcha Beis Yisrael, and the descendants of all Yisrael should be. Kulanu, all of us, Yodei Shemecha, should love you. V'Oiskei Sheresecha, and should be involved near Torah, and the conclusion is Baruch Ata Hashem Hamlamed Torah Lami Yisrael. So that is the second aspect of Birchas Torah of Rav Nuna Amar. There's actually another one. Asher Bachar Bono Mikol Ha'amim V'Noslan Torah. Hashem chose us from amongst the nations. He granted us His Torah. Baruch Ata Hashem Neisna Torah. So we thank Hashem for choosing us and electing to give us His Torah. Amar Rav Nuna Zu. This third one of Asher Bachar Bono is Mu'ula Shel Brachos. It is the best of all the brachas, and as the Mepharshim say, therefore was chosen to be the bracha during an Aliyah Torah. One is called up for the Torah in public. Continues the Gemara Hilchach, being that we have three different shitas, what is considered Birchas HaTorah? L'binu l'kulu, we should indeed recite all three of them as we do today. We begin with Asher Gichonim Mitzvah Savana Lasik Torah. We continue with V'harevna. Conclude with Asher Baruch Habonu Mikol Ha'ameh V'Noslan L'Serazes. In conclusion, Birchas HaTorah consists of three separate aspects. The Mashal says it's referring to the three aspects of Torah. It's good, it's sweet, and it's very beneficial in the long term. The first bracha of Asher Kichonim Mitzvah is on account of its goodness. We're thankful that Hashem gave us a good present. V'haravna denotes its sweetness. It is a sweet experience. One is involved in Torah, connecting to Hashem in the highest form, the highest level of sweetness. The third thing, Asher Baruch Habonu, Hashem chose us and granted us eternal life. That is Asher Baruch Habonu Mikol Ha'amim V'Noslan Lanu Torah. And according to the halacha in Shulchan Aruch, regardless of which part of Torah, whether it's Mikra, Mishnah, Midrash, or Gemara, a person is required to recite Birchas HaTorah. And it's interesting that our practice is when we say Birchas HaTorah, we include Psukim of Yivarechecha, then we go ahead to the Mishnah of Eilu Dvarim Shein Lo Shir, and in that Mishnah it extends into the Brisa of Eilu Dvarim Shein Lo Shir. And perhaps this is sending a message that all three aspects of Torah, Mikra, Mishnah, and the rest of Torah Shel Peh, are all equally important to Klal Yisrael. Continues the Gemara Tnan Hassam. We've learned in the Mishnah regarding the description of the Avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. Amar Lam Hamamuna, the one in charge, instructed the group of Kahanim as follows: Beruchu bracha achas. Go make one blessing. The Gemara soon will explain what exactly was this bracha achas. Ve'im beruchu, and indeed they made the bracha. V'kora aseres hadibros. They recited the aseres hadibros. Then Shema and Vayim Shemaya and Vayomer. All the different portions of Krishma, and they blessed together with the public the three brachos of Emes V'Yatziv, which follows Krishma, V'Avoida. This is a bracha, a tefillah to Hashem to accept the Avoida Beis Hamikdash and the tefillah. U'Birchas Kehanim, and they recited the psukim of Birchas Kehanim. U'B'Shabbos, Moisifim bracha achas, they would add one more blessing, L'Mishmar Yoitzu, which was directed at the group of Kehanim which had concluded their line of duty. They were on the way out, and they received a bracha from the incoming Mishmar. Says the Gemara, what exactly is the bracha achas reference in the beginning of this Mishmar by bracha achas? Says the Gemara, we will learn the meaning of the bracha achas from the following incident. They came to visit this town. They were asked the following question: My bracha achas, what is bracha achas referring to? They didn't know. Also, Shailu Rav Masna. They asked Rav Masna, he didn't either know. Also, Shailu Rav Yehuda. They went to ask Rav Yehuda, and he said, I know the answer. Omar Lahu, he said to them, Shmuel. This is how Shmuel interpreted the Mishnah. Bracha achas is Ava Rabba. That is the bracha preceding Krishma of Ava Rabba. He disagrees. He holds that the bracha achas is actually a bracha of Yitzhar, which is the first bracha of the Birchas Krishma. So, Machlokes, what exactly is bracha achas? Is it Ava Rabba or is it Yitzhar? Continues the Gemara. Ki Asa Rav Yisrael Bar Yosef. Rav Yisrael Bar Yosef came and he said the following: Amar, Had Rav Zrika, this statement of Rav Zrika that interprets the Mishnah of bracha achas in reference to Birchas Yitzhar, la v'ferish itmar. This wasn't said explicitly. Elam chol itmar is our inference. It was an implication from something else that he said, which implied to us the meaning of bracha achas. Let's see. The Amar of Zrika, Amar of Ami, Amar Shimon Lakish. He said as follows: this Mishnah, which relates that the Kehanim merely said one bracha, teaches us a very important lesson regarding Birchas Krishma. It teaches us that even if one only recites one of the brachas, he omits the rest, he has still fulfilled his obligation regarding that bracha. It's not a package deal. One bracha doesn't depend on the other. They're not essential to each other. From the fact that we see that the Kehanim only made one bracha. So it's a meris, we learn from here. Brachos ein ma'akev zu zu. Brachos are not essential to each other. So that was the statement of Rav Zika. He didn't say more than that. But from this statement, we inferred as to the meaning of the word bracha achas. Why is that? Because if bracha achas is referring to Yetzer Or, and they omitted avarabba, they chose to say only Yetzer Or, why didn't they say avarabba as well? Apparently they were out of time, they were pressed for time, and they need to be brief, and they only chose Yetzer Or and neglected to say avarabba. So apparently brachas are not ma'ak v'zu. They could be Yetzer one bracha without the other. Again, so it's a meres brachos ein ma'ak v'zu. Iyamis b'shloima. This raya, this proof is good if Yetzer Or have amru. If it was Yetzer Or that they chose to say, and the fact that they omitted avarabba proves to us that Yetzer Or is standalone without avarabba. Hainu the brachos ein ma'ak v'zu. The loika ami avarabba. And the fact, on account that didn't say avarabba, that shows to us that Yetzer Or is not dependent on avarabba. Ella, but amru is avarabba v'amri. If the bracha achas is referring to the bracha of avarabba, that won't prove to us anything regarding the halacha of brachos ein ma'akev zu. Perhaps you know why they omitted Yetzer Or? Because morning has not arrived yet. It was still too early to say Yetzer Or. As soon as daylight will arrive, they will indeed recite Yetzer Or and complete the Brachos Krishma. So you have no right from there. You have no indication whatsoever regarding the halacha of brachos ein ma'akev zu. Perhaps it's a package deal. One needs to recite all the brachos to fulfill his obligation, and they will indeed complete their fulfillment of the Brachos Krishma by reciting Yetzer Or when the appropriate time arrives. Again, inside Elei Amris Avarabba Amri. If it was avarabba that they said, and when the Mishnah says Berach bracha achas referring to avarabba, my brachos ein ma'akev zu, how can you infer from there that brachos are not essential to each other? Dilma, perhaps, Hi Talei Amri Yetzer Or, Mishum Talei Matas Man Yetzer Or. Since the day has not arrived yet, and the appropriate time for Yetzer Or has not come, therefore they're waiting, they're simply waiting for the right time, and of course they will complete their Brachos Krishma upon the arrival of daylight. When the time for Yetzer Or will come, Havi Amri, they will say it. So this is what we implied from the statement of Rav Zika. Again, Rav Zika was referring to the Mishnah, where the Kehanim merely said one bracha. We see from here, brachos ein ma'akev zu. One bracha is not dependent on the other from the fact that we see they only said one without the other. Says the Gemara, this is a raya. This proves to us that what is the interpretation of bracha achas is referring to Yetzer Or. And since we see they only said Yetzer Or and omitted avarabba, which they could have said it even when it was dark. Nevertheless, they neglected to say it, they omitted it. Apparently, they weren't planning on saying it for lack of time or whatever reason. And we see that one bracha does not need the other, nor for one to fulfill his obligation. However, if bracha achas would have been referring to avarabba, the raya, the proof, would not have been a proof, because perhaps they were planning on concluding their Brachos Krishma when the time arrives. So again, apparently Rav Zrika is of the opinion that bracha achas is Yetzer Or. But this was not explicitly stated. It is simply a raya. It's implied by a different statement that he made. Says the Gemara, what's the difference if it's implied, if it's explicit? Is there any uncertainty in this implication? Could you refute this implication? If it was merely implied, what's the difference? It seems to be pretty clear that is his interpretation of the Mishnah. Says the Gemara, perhaps no. Bracha achas is referring to avarabba. Certainly, they began with avarabba. That was the bracha achas. And as you suggested, as soon as daylight arrived, certainly they completed and they added the bracha of Yetzer Or. If so, how do we see from there regarding brachos ein ma'akev zu that brachos aren't essential to each other? We're speaking about completing all the brachos. Says the Gemara, you had a false interpretation of the words brachos ein ma'akev zu. It wasn't referring to any halacha of reciting one and omitting the other. Umay brachos ein ma'akev zu, say the brachos. He was merely saying that the proper order of the brachos are not ma'akev. They do not prevent one from fulfillment of his obligation. Even if one reverses the proper order, he is still yotzi, he still fulfilled his obligation, as we see by the Kehanim. Even though they began in the reverse, they began with avarabba. Since it was still dark, they didn't want to say Yetzer Or. They began with avarabba, and then later on completed Yetzer Or. Certainly they have recited all the brachas of Krishma, but it was in the reverse order. So evidently we see from there that they say the brachos, the order is not mi'akev, is not required for the fulfillment of the mitzvah. So your implication is kind of uncertain. There's no real raya from here. You wanted to prove from here that according to Rav Zrika, who proves from the Mishnah that brachos say mi'akev zuzu, evidently it was the brachos Yetzer Or that they recited. And they omitted avarabba? No. Perhaps it was the brachos avarabba that they recited, and they would eventually complete the brachos by reciting Yetzer Or in its proper time. What was the inference from here? What was the raya from here regarding the halacha of brachos ein ma'akev zuzu? It was simply regarding the seder brachos, the order of the brachos that we see from this Mishnah, that the order is not ma'akev since they reversed it. They began with avarabba and concluded with Yetzer Or. So in conclusion, we have a machlekes. What is the term Beicha Bracha Achas? Was it referring to avarabba according to Shmuel? And according to Rav Zrika, according to one approach in the Gemara, we see from Rav Zrika that the Bracha Achas is referring to Yetzer Or and not avarabba.